Hi there, my name's Daniel Gillespie. I'm from the band Skerryvore, also co-founder and director of Tyree Music Festival out in the West Coast. We're going to talk a bit today about live streaming. With Skerryvore, we've been going 15 years as a band. With Tyree Music Festival, we've been going 10 years, but even though we've been sort of around for a good while, we're having to learn very quickly about the streaming market and reacting to the current pandemic on these things as well. So we're going to talk a bit today about live streaming and our experience so far on that. Okay, I've broke down into 4 sections for live streaming here to these are sort of key lessons we learned. I think early in the pandemic, when we began to realise we're not going to be going on tour for quite a while, and people were obviously reacting. We knew we had to do some sort of streaming performance, but there was a lot of debate around how we deliver this and what way. And we had a great idea right at the start to use a castle in Scotland that they'd agreed to allow us in, and we spent a lot of time on planning this, only to go down quite a number of weeks down the line of discussions and planning to do a connectivity test, to be told that the connectivity would not handle a live stream. And we even went as far as getting a company to go down with a satellite and test whether they could do that, and it still wasn't guaranteed enough. So I would put that absolutely number one. If you were planning doing a live stream, as in fully live, not a pre-record performance, you need to check the connectivity where it is that you're planning to host this event, to make sure it is minimum upload of 10 megabytes per second on there. And that's a hard lesson that we learned early on it, but it's very, very important. Even if you are doing a pre-record, wherever it is that you're then putting out as a live stream, you're still, wherever it is, you're going to need to have a solid connection, hardware connection, to make sure that's handled. So that is number one. Number two, I would say, is you need to think about the platform that you're going to use for your digital stream, your live stream. And again, this is something that's changed a lot, even in the past 12 months since the pandemic has kicked in. All of a sudden, there's been a lot of new platforms that have appeared in terms of hosting live streams. There's also been a lot of platforms that have had to adapt very, very quickly and offer a live stream service. I think breaking it down right to the start, you make the decision on whether or not you're going to try and sell tickets for your stream, or whether you're going to do completely free. We sort of went for a balance between the two of a pay what you want type model, which at first was quite hard to find how we were going to do that in the early days of it, but there's now so many platforms that will do that, whether it's MyPlayer, whether it's Dice. There's so many platforms that will offer it. Because we had an established relationship with Eventbrite through the festivals and the band, and we had such a strong database and audience that were familiar with that system, we decided to go with Eventbrite, as they offered a pay what you want donation type ticket. What I will say is it wasn't the best, and it still isn't the best platform for managing the live stream. It does have YouTube built in, which can handle the traffic no problem at all, but in terms of the security of the stream, it's certainly not the best one. So research the platform, find out what's going to work best for you in terms of your live stream, and there's so many different platforms out there. Obviously the most basic, and loads of people at the start made the decision to Facebook Live for the live stream, which may work. It's a low cost option, and particularly if you're maybe a solo performer or a duo, it's a very quick way to do that, and you can improve the quality rather than just saying, it's going to be from a phone. Alec, our lead singer, has been doing Lockdown Live every Friday night for the last 12 months nearly, and he's built in a system where he's got a professional mic and lighting and everything else, but it's still running through Facebook Live. So there are ways of improving the quality of it, but he's still got a lot of limitations with regards to generating income, whether it's, he relies on donations made to a separate page. It's not a ticket thing and system and everything else as well. So you need to make the decision of whether it's going to be a paid ticketed event, and then look at the platforms that are available to you from there. The third sort of topic or heading, I say, is quickly identify what your audience is and who your audience are. Is it just your followers that are on your various platforms? Or are you looking to try and reach new audience via your live stream? I think if you make comparisons to live streaming replacing what you would do at live tours, you would book live tours, you may be playing at festivals, you'd be playing at venues, you'd be playing maybe a run of shows for a promoter. All these three sort of entities would be promoting you, they'd be promoting to their audiences. You maybe haven't got that. That's not to say that that opportunity isn't there, because obviously a lot of festivals have produce live streams, a lot of venues have tried to do live streaming, but it's something to remember that when beforehand when you're out touring physically, you maybe had other people that had existing audience there or driving the audience for you. If you've not got that, you need to think about how you're going to reach your own audience and potentially reach a new audience, and that probably links a lot to the Demystifying Digital chat we had as well, about realising how you're going to break that down. For us, we wanted to rely on the data that we built up in the database, the mailing list, audience across the social media platforms, and sort of reconnect with these people that we wouldn't be seeing physically. But we also wanted to still try and reach new audience, because that's something we would have been doing if we're out on tour. We've been playing at different festivals, different events, and potentially playing to people who've never heard the band before. So our way of trying to achieve that was we partnered with venues or brands that would have a whole audience of their own. So to give an example, the most recent one we did on Fingal, which is a luxury floating hotel in Edinburgh, and it's also the sister ship of the Royal Yacht Britannia. So luckily they were closed to the public just now. We played the press launch of them a good while back, but their data and audience their own. They had a mailing list of, I think it was over 100,000, social media platforms over 80,000, and a whole brand and a whole audience internationally that we partnered with. So we were looking to combine both our audiences together and try and do a reach, and we managed to get just under 7,000 folk watching the stream in 27 countries on Saturday night. So it's a good way of showing that there is other ways, whether that's you partnering with a venue or multiple venues, partnering with a festival, partnering with other brands to try and still find ways to reach new audience. Or of course you can just try and do that, through advertising, social media advertising, but it's very, very difficult to break through. I think people always have trusted brands or events or people. So if you can find something that's a good fit for your music, that's looking for exposure as well, it's a great opportunity to make new relationships on that. The fourth element of the live streaming, I'd say, is probably around production, in terms of deciding what level of production you want to go to on the live stream, because I think it's something that again, it's a sort of steep learning curve for us, is how quickly the costs can escalate. We had the idea at the start of going, we didn't want to do Facebook Live. We wanted to try and make it as high a level of production in terms of visually, audio, making it like the live show would be in terms of lighting and high energy. But all of a sudden you're not, on tour we'd have a sound engineer, a lighting engineer going with us. All of a sudden we needed multiple sound engineers, multiple light engineers, a film crew, director, and obviously all the equipment that's required around it as well, particularly if you're creating new venues on a ship or in a whiskey distillery like we did in the first one. So all of a sudden we were looking at a 15 grand production for a single show, which is far more expensive than putting on a gig in a venue that's maybe prepared for you. So that's us going to that level of it. I think there's loads of ways it can be done, and more places have adapted, but I think you've got to understand what level of production you want to go to, what that's going to cost, and have a good understanding then. But the part to remember is this is your brand, it's your music, and you need to be sure that when you're live streaming, you're putting it out in a way that you're happy with, and you know that's going to add value to your music and to your brand as well. On that, so there's more and more places that pop up, but I think it's very, very important that you don't devalue yourself, and particularly when there's a huge debate going on about streaming in live music at the moment, and how undervalued musicians and writers are, particularly, is that you need to remember that your music has value. It shouldn't be given away for free. And I said this is something that was a big debate amongst our band about how we ticketed the events. Quite a few of us were on the stance that no, look, this should be a paid ticket. People, if they want to see music and listen to music, should be paying. And we reached a compromise on the pay what you want type model on things to get there. But all I say is don't undervalue what it is that you have. Make sure that you value your product. Make sure you present it in a way that you're happy with as well on there, and it'll get the return. I think the last thing to touch on is this is very important as well, is the add-ons and the capability of that. And by add-ons I mean things that you can build in along with the stream. So to give an example, some of the ones that we've had across the different streams, we've had a digital programme and booklet for the show that people could pre-order, and it would get sent to them 24 hours beforehand. So it would have, it would give them the set list, it would tell them a wee bit about the venue, it would have interviews with the band, just exclusive content in a sense. We've had merchandise, t-shirts and other items that people could pre-order while they're doing the stream. On the latest one there, we basically had a prize bundle that included a night in the Skerryvore suite on Fingal, which is, to stay in that would be about £1,500 a night. So there's a chance for somebody to win something that potentially was going to be out of their reach. I think we'd sold 600 odd tickets to that add-on or something. So it's trying to create exclusive content that can be add-ons to the stream. And to give an example how much the add-ons can add value, on the first stream that we did at the Clydeside Distillery, and they put in a special bottle of whiskey that people could win as well on the stream, and that was an add-on. Of the gross income on the stream, the add-ons represent 53% of the income. So it's something you need to think about. It's a great way to get your merchandise out at a time that you wouldn't be doing that on the road, and things as well. But it's also what we've probably battled with the most, is still being creative in terms of what add-ons can you have that have got real exclusivity to them. And it's a really important thing, and probably touching on the exclusivity element as well with the live streaming is, if you're going to do a live stream and you're going to do it ticketed, you need to understand that the exclusivity isn't geographical the way it would have been with live shows. The exclusivity, you're opening up that to the entire world. There is ways of making it geographical, but I think that becomes complicated in terms of controlling that. All I would say is that if you're going to do it, make sure you're not doing something for free 3 days before or a week before, that's all of a sudden people are going to go, why am I going to pay money to watch this particular stream if I can just watch them on Facebook Live for free? And they might not understand the difference in quality between something you're doing on Facebook Live and something that's going to be of higher quality on live streams. So just make sure you understand the exclusivity and the importance of that and building up. For us, we've sort of left 3 to 4 months between each of the live streams of Skerryvore, and I've had almost created them like mini festivals and many events in a way to try, and we've built a brand and a title around them, the add-ons, all the different elements, and sort of throwing the kitchen sink at them each time, to be honest. But it's something that after we did the first one, we felt was a model that was going to work, and we just tried to keep improving it from there. We do hope coming out of the pandemic that the aim is to have one sort of hybrid live stream a year, because there is something nice. I think people have become a lot more understanding of live streams in the digital world, and there's people, I think, amongst our audience, certainly the older demographic, that are real fear around live streaming at the start. And what we did was a lot of sort of guide videos. So we got some of the band to, like Martin, my brother's probably the worst tech guy out of the whole band, so we thought we'll run him as the test dummy, put him through how to get the live stream onto your television to watch, and did that, and made it a sort of a way that it was a lot more engaging rather than just dumping, oh, here's a link to read how you got onto YouTube. Great way to promote the event, engage your audience, and they become familiar with how to use a live stream. And I think if you looked across the 3 live streams, the number of emails or messages that we received about how do they watch the live stream? On the last one there, just at the Fingal ship, there was hardly any questions at all about it. So that's the audience that are learning about the new sort of digital age, the live streaming. They've enjoyed it enough that they'll come back and watch again on there, and you're educating them in a way to sort of absorb your music and things in that sense. So we certainly hope it's something we can do once a year. I think there's something really nice about going for one night. You know, everyone that you've connected with around the world through your music can come together, chat online, particularly using the YouTube Live. The comments are amazing. There's discussions going on between, you know, somebody in South Africa and somebody in America at the same time. So that there is something I think people need to just go, this is going to be here post-pandemic. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And it's making sure that you're ready for it, your audience is ready for it, and then you're maximising the opportunity that's there.